I think this year especially is going to be year of the CFO, is what I keep saying. I think due to the current economic landscape, the CFO is going to be challenged with a lot of tech spend, especially within the legal department, who can traditionally be seen as a cost center more than anything else. So I think when it comes to looking at a CLM and some of the efficiencies that can be had there, the difficulties come around change management. So for example, not only getting change across the legal team, but CLMs are now going outside of legal and more to business teams, marketing, finance, operations, and so on. So it's not just navigating that conversation with the general counsel, it's getting different department heads involved. So I think getting wider team buy-in and business intake is going to be the biggest challenge for 2023 for in-house legal teams. I think the biggest pushback that a lot of people get, again, going back to the first question, is change and understanding the impact of change and how to manage it accordingly. So I feel like the approach that Summize has is integration first. A lot of the platforms, a lot of the tech out there historically is all in one and relies on the end user to completely change their ways of working. Lawyers traditionally, again, like to use Word and Teams and Slack and DocuSign and the standard technology which has been implemented successfully around the business. Asking them to come out of those pieces of tech and change their current ways of working, of course, that has an impact on the counterparty from a legal perspective, isn't the way to do things, is our opinion. So by navigating through and really integrating into your existing ways of working and your technology stack allows not only business buy-in from the offset, with the integrations which we have, but also the uptake when it comes to the implementation and onboarding. The fact that the wider business, such as the sales team, don't have to get used and go through a whole change management tool and just live where they work today is a huge value add, and the reason we get the uptake at Summize is predominantly due to that. I think CLM software historically has been seen as a legal tool or a piece of legal tech that sits within the legal budget. We're seeing over the past 6 to 12 months especially that this is now getting wider business engagement due to the efficiencies I think that it has around the team. It's not just focusing on contract reviews or contract management. We're now looking into the ways it can add value from a revenue perspective. So rather than a salesperson waiting 4 or 5 working days for an NDA, a simple NDA to be created, it can now be done within a minute or without leaving Teams or Slack. So I think the reason why CLMs are going to be massively impactful to 2023 because it's a time of cost saving and efficiencies, and Summize addresses both of those areas. Essentially, again, you're the CFO, as I mentioned before, they want to see the ROI quickly. I think they also want to see the instrumental value that it can have on the lawyers originally. So what we tend to do is focus on the contract review side, for example. If that is a big use case for the clients, it's saying, right, I had a recent conversation about this, and it came away more from percentages and how much time they can back, but almost from like a work-life balance. We know that lawyers spend a lot of time in evenings and weekends historically and currently reviewing contracts, spending a lot of time on contract management. Summize, if we can get you to do your working day and your contract reviews within your normal working hours due to the efficiencies which it has within the tool, then we want to give your evenings back and give your weekends back. So I'd say that time is huge. And I think from a financial perspective, when it comes, as I said earlier, into the revenue side of things, if we can get contracts created quicker, if we can turn around contract reviews quicker as well, it all helps with actually the revenue side of the business, so the sales and sales operations. So it benefits them massively. So to answer your question, the 2 main efficiencies which we see is the time side of things, which of course is very, very expensive, and also from a financial perspective, if we can increase the level of deals, the amount of deals and the velocity of the revenue, then that's where we're trying to get to. On the roadmap from both a product perspective, business and growth as well. I think essentially my number one key excitement is moving to the States and opening our Boston office and growing a really scalable and successful team out there. We've done it really well here in the UK, and of course our year-on-year growth has been huge, and we're really aiming to do that in Boston as well. Boston is going to be a monumental move for the business, both from a growth perspective in the States, expanding our US clientele as it is today, as well as, of course, the East Coast being really where it's at, being a central hub for both New York and Boston as well. I think obviously Boston's great. I think generally seeing the amount of people come into the office in terms of new starters is huge. So we're excited to see that growth. And for me, because I get so much behind the products and very much involved with our CTO, Rich, in the roadmap and what the rest of the market wants and what they're trying to actually achieve, the way in which the product evolves literally on a month-by-month basis is probably the most exciting part of Summize, and the real key focus on what we can integrate into next, which I get told off about. I think collaboration is huge. I very much like the fact that whilst it does offer the remote working approach, there is a general collaboration within the office as well. The teams work, again, from sales, marketing, dev, operations, we all work very, very closely together. And I think just the general consensus from Tom as well, being a former general counsel, understanding his knowledge and the pains and frustrations that he went through as an in-house tech lawyer especially, and how that now sort of like coincides and aligns to the product today, really is getting behind the actual business and being passionate about our growth and the years to come. I would say collaborative being the first one. I would say experience from both the team which you have today and also the management team, who have been very much involved in SaaS scale-ups and grown again to the US and grown globally as well. And the third word I would say is disruptive. I know that's pretty cliche, but I think it really, really is in terms of what we're trying to do, both from a product. We're not trying to fit in, we are trying to stand out from the crowds. And I think our list of clients absolutely demonstrates that we have achieved that.